my name is Liz Wambui and I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. Currently, I work for a company called Sky Cabin Crew Consultancy, whereby we train cabin crews like you, aspirants like you, on how to pass cabin crew interviews and bring them closer to their dream. Putting that aside, I previously got the privilege to work for Emirates Airline and Qatar Airways as cabin crew, and today I'm going to share with you on how my assessment day was. Having in mind that so many of you have asked me a question on how I passed my interview, and is it the same in Europe and in other countries, and what is the process, what happens during the assessment day. And today I'm going to give you my personal experience on what I did and how I passed the interview. So it began on, I think it was on a Monday, and they came to Nairobi, Kenya. My interview was in Kenya, and they were doing the interviews, I think, in Intercontinental. The interview was supposed to start at 8 in the morning. So at least I was there by 7:30, but to my shock, people were there hours before. For example, I think some people reached there at 6 because I was amongst the last ones, and it was 7:30. So having in mind that, I realized that when you come for a cabin crew interview, you have to be ahead of time. Don't come, for example, if the interview is at 8 in the morning, don't come like 10 minutes to 8. It is good, but with these kind of interviews and the tension that is held in the morning, it's better you come way before, ahead of time, so you get to know the people who are there and get to know the ambience and get to just feel comfortable, feel confident. I don't know if you've ever had the feeling when you're late, you feel tensed, you feel your confidence just goes down. So I prefer going ahead of time. Maybe you can be there an hour before. So we all were put in a room. All of us, we're about 200 people, and they decided to show us a video about Dubai and how it is like to live there and how it is like to work for the airline. And they also gave us a brief history about the airline, and people were just listening to the video and all excited. Some were bored, some were just like not concentrating because of the way they were tensed, or maybe your mind is far because of the ambience that is around there. But guess what? I was, to my surprise, actually asked us a few questions about what was in the video, and that was shocking to me because some people are not actually listening. But after that, they asked us about history of the Emirates Airline. So to my advantage, and I think that's where I really got some marks, because they asked us which is the latest destination that they are going to at that time. And people are all answering all sorts of answers, but thankfully I said the correct answer. I'm basically a shy person, but when I lifted up my hand slowly from the back, the interviewer happened to see me and chose me, and I answered the question correctly. It was actually LA, and I just saw a tick in something and I knew, oh, that could be of my advantage. So number 2, it's very, very important for you to do a history, a background check on the airline. Just go to their website. They always have the information. What are they doing now? The charity events that they are doing, which year it got started, who is the CEO of the company. Try and learn as much as you can about the interview and about the airline itself. All the airlines are different. Don't confuse CEO of Qatar Airways and the CEO of Emirates Airline. Just make sure you know which interview you're going. Do your best to study what that airline is all about. So after asking us about the history, some people were actually sent home. Weirdly, I don't know. I think maybe the people who answered the wrong questions, or the people who didn't try to answer at all, maybe they looked like they didn't know anything about the airline. You know what I mean? So after that, just very few people were disqualified, and we were put in some groups. Very few groups. There were actually 2 or 3 groups, and in that group, others were told to go outside, and the group that was chosen to remain inside the hall, the conference hall, and we put in a circle and told to introduce the other person. So for example, I'm seated here, I'll introduce the one who's next to me, and the one who's on this other side, on my left hand side, will introduce me. So what I did is that the persons that I'm supposed to introduce, I asked them a few extra questions about them, because most people would, I noticed that the most people in the circle from where it started, they were like, what can I say? My colleague here is, for example, James. He's from Kenya and he's 23 years old. That's all they would say. And human beings have a habit of repeating the same thing. So everybody in the circle kind of repeated the same thing. My colleague here is Jane. She's 21 years old and she's from Kenya. That is it. But when it came to me, I said something a bit extra. I said their name, their age, and I said their hobbies and what they like to eat, and their profession, their previous profession, what they're doing now. And I think that made me look a little bit interested in my colleague and a little bit more friendly. And that's what they're looking for. Are you friendly? Are you someone who can relate with other people? Are you someone who can actually have a conversation with a stranger? You know what I mean? Because when you're in the plane, these are total strangers. These are people you've never met before. But are you able to start up a conversation, be friendly, be someone who is easily approachable, someone who can be talked to, someone who can actually as well make someone have a really nice time during their journey from one destination to another. So I think that really made me look good. The fact that I was the only one who actually said something extra about the person who was next to me. So after that, I remember very well that people were actually disqualified. Guys were sent home. They were actually they had a table outside the conference room with all the numbers of people. Actually, I forgot to tell you at the beginning, they put some numbers. They give us a numbers tags to put on our tops, so that you don't need to put your name, but it would be like number 1, number 2, number 10, like that. And I remember I was number 13, something like that. And after the whole introduction session, you go outside, you meet a table with envelopes with different numbers there. So you know your number 13, you pick up number 13 and you find it written, oh, congratulations, you move to the next step, which is so intense. It really makes you really scared. But you can actually get congratulations, you move to the next step, or unfortunately, try out next time. And after that, we were put in another group. The people reduced, smaller group. After that group, we were told to create a movie. Yes, a movie, strangely a movie. And we're not actually to act it, we're just to say it. You know, just say it. Just come up with actors, say why you chose those actors, and tell us about the movie that you're going to create. And what did you do? They were checking what you're going to say, and not necessarily if your movie is really nice or what your movie is about. They were just checking, are you contributing when you're in that circle, in that group, when you're creating that movie? Are you the kind of person who is contributing information towards creating the movie, or are you quiet? Are you the person who is letting everybody do the hard work and you just sit there nodding your head, or agreeing with everything? No. They're also checking if you're the kind of person who is talking when others are talking. You're not letting your colleagues talk. When your colleague is talking, you overthrow them with your words, something like that. Or are you respectful when you're speaking to them, when you're speaking and removing your point? Are you the kind of person who wants to be seen, or you're kind of person who lets other people talk, and when you have something to say, you raise up your hand and say your point with respect, even if you don't agree with what the other person has just said. So basically that's what they were looking for: communication skills, the way you communicate with your colleagues, the way you behave, the way you carry out yourself in public. And then after that, obviously some people were cut off because they they overthrew others when they were talking. They look like they want to be seen more than others. They're not really showing or displaying that respect to value, or they're not really showing that they can work together as a team very well. So they were cut off, and we remained again a number of people, and we were given an English exam. Right now, I hear some people are given maths exam, but for me, I was given an English exam. I think the one, it depends country to country. They check if you're, for example, if you're Swahili speaking country like me, they want to find out, is your English really good, international standard? Can you be able to communicate with someone from Europe, someone from Australia, or from any other part of the world in a way that you can be heard and your words can be heard very well? So they gave us an English exam, basically like what we do in primary school. They gave us a composition to write. Mine was, if you were to change something in Kenya, what would it be? You were to write 1.5 pages, so kind of like a full scap and a half of that. And then as well as they give us what do you call it, an essay, when you read a certain story and then you have to answer questions according to how that story was, just like we used to do it in primary school. Then again, they check your grammar, the way you write, your spelling mistakes, things like that, which basically it's not hard. I don't believe there's any Kenyan who would actually fail the English exam, because English is actually very good, and we learn English from since we were really small. Since we were really small, that's one of the languages the major language that we concentrate on in our country. So I don't think anybody would fail that. But strangely, when we were doing the exam and everybody's busy writing, they were going around and checking our grooming, which is really important. One of the things that is very important in a cabin crew assessment day, a cabin crew interview, is your grooming. I got a secret. I realized that when you're going for example, you're going for an Emirates airline, just look at their uniform. Go online, check how a cabin crew in Emirates dresses, and do your best to reach those standards. For example, mostly wear studs, like pearl earring or a small stud, which is not like a diamond or something like that. Simple stud, simple pearl. Try your best to get one of those for the interview. Hair at the back, minimum makeup, lipstick color that is matching with you. Your nails, mostly red or French or colorless, cutex. The skirt has to be slightly below the knee and not tight, nothing showing your figure and all that. It has to be, again, not too loose. It has to be something that is fitting, something slightly below the knee. Your stockings has to be the same skin tone as you. Like, for example, I'm dark skin. I cannot go buying stockings for someone from Europe. It really doesn't make sense. You look ridiculous. High heels, not very high, just a small heel, looking nice, a closed official shoe. Just go and look at the uniform and do your best to look like that, because what interviewers do, they imagine you in their uniform. So if you come with loops, earrings which are hanging down like these ones, it actually doesn't really look to the standards. And actually, when you're applying in the website, they give you a picture or rather guidelines on what to follow when you're taking a photo. So even when you're coming for the interview, dress up like that. Don't do a lot of makeup on your face. Don't do don't do colors that are not matching with your skin tone. Just try and do I advise people to do either a black suit or a gray suit. Mostly people do black and white, black suit, white shirt, and it looks really nice and professional. And then they were checking our hair. Try your best to avoid putting a weave and as well as putting braids on your hair, because I realized that she was checking what kind of hair that I had. I was natural. I had just tied a small ponytail at the back. It looks good, looks professional. So don't go putting on a wig and a weave and curly weave and long braids. You look so beautiful, but that's not what they really look at. So they checked her grooming. After the English test, Again, some people went home. You go back to the table outside the conference room, pick up your card and see what you've been told. So we moved to the next level. From there, we were very, very few. Can you imagine? We were at the beginning, we were 200 people, but at this time, we were actually 5. Yeah, from 200 to 5 people. We all exchanged numbers and actually became friends. But before that, we were told that now we've moved to the next level. Tomorrow, we are going to come for a one-on-one assessment, and they gave us different timings. Mine was around 8, between 9 and 10 is when I was supposed to come the next day. So if you're coming for an interview, let's say you're from Uganda, you're coming for an interview in Kenya, try and stay in Kenya for about 2-3 days, because the next day could be the day for your one-on-one, or they can do it at the same day that they did the whole assessment. But sometimes it takes too long. Like for example, that day it began at 8, at 5 is when we were going home. So that's why they told us to come the next day. So even you try and give yourself some time in the country that you're doing the interview. So the next day we came, the 5 of us. Same thing, you have to be on time. The plane never waits for anyone. You have to be on time or ahead of time. Be an hour there before, prepare, know the place, know the ambience, feel comfortable, feel at home, then you're ready to go. Then during my one-on-one as well, they asked me everything on my CV. So you know the kind of people you go for an interview and you don't even remember, you never checked your CV, you don't even remember what you wrote inside that CV. So they asked me a few questions and it had to match with what I have written in the CV. Otherwise, I would have looked like I'm lying. At the same time, they checked my grooming again. How do I look? How am I dressed? Am I with a very short skirt? This is a Muslim country. You're going to Dubai. You need to respect their culture. They do not wear like that, you see. So even you have to display the kind of person who would fit into their uniform. So they asked me about things on my CV. Then they asked me some twist questions like, how do you work under pressure? Have you ever lied to the employer to please a client? Or have you ever broken any rules of the company but really helped the client? Questions like that, which you need to be very, very careful on how you answer them. You have to also be truthful. You have to also be the kind of person who they can tell you're not lying, you're just being open, you're just saying as it is. Really, they ask you a bit of customer service questions, but basically mostly they ask you what is on your CV. If you said you're a waitress before, if you said you're a nurse before, if you said you're a banker before, it doesn't matter. What is on your CV is what they're going to ask. Then they're going to turn it around to see if they can put it to match with the airline industry. If you understand what I mean. So nothing difficult. The interview lasted for like 5 minutes, and after that they tell you that they're going to take all the information that you've given them, they'll take it back to Dubai, and after a week or 2 weeks they're going to give you the feedback. Unfortunately for me, it didn't last that 2 weeks. It stayed about a month without me knowing what's going on. So much tension. And after 1 month, they called me and told me that I've actually passed the interview, and now I should do my medical tests. Medical tests, they actually check things like they told me to do. They gave me a specific hospital to go to. I went to Aga Khan. They gave me a list, but I chose Aga Khan. And they were checking things like X-ray or any health issue that you may have that would make you not work for the airline. So you need to be very truthful, and the doctor they'll give you a list of every test to do, and you need to be very truthful and make sure that each and every column that you've been given, that you're going to answer it. Then after that, the medical report, you send it to them via email, and after that they'll give you the golden call with all the joining details, and your dream starts and begins from there. So I hope you've really learned something from today, and this video has been helpful. For any questions that you may have, any question, feel free to ask me. or rather even write me an email or on Sky Cabin Crew Consultants at gmail.com, or my Facebook page, Sky Cabin Crew Consultants. And I'll also put my phone number on the link below so that you can reach me in and ask me anything that you may need to prepare for your interview or before the application process. Till next time, thank you so much. I really had fun and I hope you learned something from this. Bye.